name is Bushan Glover. I'm a deacon at Sunnyside Baptist Church on 94th and Butler.
Oh, with brother.
Oh, what Dyke Redmond?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Dyke Redmond.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got like some housing units and some students living in the units, and I've been providing like security
Okay.
for it. And I'll be, walking around and seeing a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
That we don't see, we don't talk about. So they told me about the community meetings that you guys have. So,
Okay.
I basically said, I'll be talking the talk, so let me walk the walk.
Yeah.
Start, being in terms of the community to see what resources we could actually slide over that
Okay.
side of town.
Okay.
There's a four-way stop over there, cars flying by. We got a community center, so it's like the safety issues and things like that. But I just wanted to come and be a part of what we got going on in the unincorporated part of LA. When we
Okay.
went to the city part,
Yeah.
they was like, we can't do nothing about that.
Well,
And
You know,
then
we
when
do
I
our
drive around
best.
Vermont, I'll be heartbroken with all the trash and stuff. So
we're
I'm
gonna
here.
ask you to come back up. We're gonna ask you to come back up, as we go through our agenda, if that's okay, but welcome. Yes.
You're in the right place,
Yes.
brother.
Thank you.
This brother right here next to you,
Uh-huh.
and the sister,
Okay.
they got a lot of words for you, man. So, thank you, brother, man.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it. So, we're gonna have a presentation by beautiful Linda Anderson in a minute. Any other updates you guys want?
Any
let me
more
just-
visitors?
let me just- Nah, it
No?
looks like that's the only one.
Oh.
Quick update about when.
I'm still, John Matthews is still en route. He has a
From,
car problem.
Marty Mitchell's office?
Okay.
All right,
He
cool.
said-
Okay, he's still coming.
All right.
That works.
So Wednesday, I don't know if you guys registered for the sheriff dialogue. It's easy to go on and click on the thing and put your name, email address, and I'll attend, and then it'll say welcome. They said they don't have, what, 17 people last year?
You had 70
Last
people
week?
last week, so
Last
they
week,
have room for
so-
55.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanna show
Let
up.
me just say that.
We
and,
do wanna show up.
That's it, I don't wanna, let me get out the way, but I just wanna make sure Wednesday, we try to get down there in Southwest Colleges.
Just doing our work with the LA County grant, our monthly reporting, we have the timeline that we passed with you. And kicking off our Easy Will Driving School program, so we'll have vouchers. This time, we're gonna give 60 days for the students to register, with the program as well. So they do the online, training and then behind the wheel training. Mr. Will has been, a great partner with us and giving us discounts on everything we do. And if you have any young people that need to get their driver's license, because that relates to the economic well-being and being able to get around and certain jobs and schools, please let us know. We do have some seats reserved for the task force and people that we know. It is a total of 30 students. We do have an extra with Assemblywoman Tina McKenna. She's providing us with 5,000, so that'll provide another 5 to 6. We'll maybe 7 depending on, because we'll see how it goes, because some of the rates have gone up and we want to be fair to our vendors. So it'll probably be maybe about 7 to 8 max, and that's coming from the Black Caucus, Congressional Black Caucus. So your work and what we do here in the community is being well received. And just want to thank everybody for coming out today as well, and each week, and supporting one another. And so we're here as a collaborative body, looking at our vision, our missions. We want to acknowledge where we've been, but we don't want to stay there. So we have to have a vision to provide the goals and somewhere where we want to go as well. So with the task force, we're looking at along the lines with jobs where you have people that have to be retired, such as with the water projects and things like that, applying for local, city, federal grants so that we can bring it back to this community that we serve. And we want to be on the forefront of the jobs that are livable wages, not just, fast food, actual livable wages, and give our community positive alternatives where it don't take them 20 years to do the job, to get trained for the job. But we're busy working every day, the task force. We on the phone, 9 o'clock last night. We're busy working and seeing what else we can do, but we appreciate each and every one of you. And we're proud of Miss Mary over here with the Kinship Academy and looking at her next steps and getting her 501c3 so she can finally get funded for what she's doing stay out of her personal pocket.
I love that progress.
I do
Go on,
too.
girl. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's,
Here he is right here, Twin.
okay,
Okay, thank you, Beverly. Thank you,
you're welcome.
Beverly.
Perfect time.
Just real quick question. Who here has family that need to get a driver's license or permit? We want to give you guys first dibs. Nobody?
Kids.
15 and a half, 18 years of age. We paying for their permit and we paying for their license.
They can't ask them for no more than that. That's wonderful.
Here's the voucher right here. Right here. They ask us, we give them this. This is a check. You walk in there to our partner, give them this, you in. Just to let you know how we real. I want to surprise y'all. That's how I move. See, I have to sign it though. You can't go nowhere. Okay, so I just want to let you know what we real about it. If not, then we have to move on with the community and the schools and yes,
So it's
ma'am.
up to 18 years of age?
15 and a half to 18 years of age. They have 30, 60 days to sign it.
60 days to sign up.
Sign up, otherwise they out. Okay?
Yeah. And Vincent,
You see it right here in my hand right now.
okay. And then also in conjunction with that project, we're doing some media training so that they can document their experience as well. So that'll also help with our data as we do our reporting with the county, and then also support easy wheel driving as well in our community. And then being able to connect them with jobs that require a license or being able to get to the school.
And he's hiring after.
Yeah.
At
He's
Easy
jealous,
Will.
Glenn. He's from the Watch House.
Right.
Oh.
And
So
all
he-
that's gonna circle around to help us go back to Honda to get more resources to continue to do this.
All right, now, brother, you want to introduce yourself? Come on up here. Baptize you, brother.
Okay.
Welcome to the West Athens Westmont campus.
Thank you.
Woo!
Appreciate you, man. God bless you. You know, we have a staff. This is Secretary, Treasurer Linda Anderson, Beverly Matthews. I'm Vincent Samuel.
How you doing?
John Matthews.
John
One
Matthews.
T or two T's?
2 T's?
Got one T.
Okay, that's all right.
Stay here,
Okay.
and, but we've been up 20 years. Just to give you a little bit more, I'm getting off the floor. We've been, everybody here is active, real active. Everybody here looking for some cash too. Just so you know, Ms. Mitchell been through here, you know, we baptize all the assemblymen and mayors and all of them come through here, you know, just so you get a little bit more than, you know, you see I got my arms around here, it means something. You go to church, you believe in God?
Well, we've been doing more virtual since COVID. But,
Oh,
but I grew up going to,
anyway, you got the flow, man. Go ahead.
The details.
Yeah.
What's your first name?
Good morning, sorry I'm late, had some car trouble this morning. But yeah, John Matthews from Holly Mitchell's office. You know, just a pleasure to be in community with y'all, trying to hear what you're working on and how we can support. My background is I joined the office about 2 years and 7 months ago as a justice deputy, so I focus exclusively on public safety issues, mostly policy advising, a little bit of legal advising. And Robert, I think, has been here before, but Robert's been out on medical leave for a while, so he's still he's still employed with the office, but we don't know his status. So ran into Twin recently. He invited me out, so
Thank you, Twin.
just trying to be here, figure out what's going on. And also, we hired someone new, so once they get kind of up to speed with orientations and all that, then hopefully he can plug in and regularly attend too. Yep.
What do you do in terms of public safety?
Yeah, well, two things. So you know the board has executive and legislative functions. So on the legislative side, motions, drafting, policy, advising. I cover 10 departments now. So Sheriff's Department, Probation Department, Fire, DA's office, Public Defender, Alternate Public Defender, Animal Control. We have 2 new departments, the Justice Care and Opportunities Department and Department of Youth Development and Coroner Medical Examiner. So it's usually, hiring, firing, litigation that comes up, advising on what's going on with that. With the new departments, kind of trying to figure out how to get them set up and actually serving communities and being visible in community. You all may be familiar with the kind of CFCI grants,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
year 3 of those grants or
Yeah.
applications are starting again. making sure the third-party administrator is set up and the money's actually getting out to
Yeah.
community-based organizations.
Mhm.
But yeah, just, I mean, I feel
A
like my
lot.
resume should just be like all caps, everything.
Yeah,
It's like an
yeah.
unreasonable amount of work.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, and also I think sometimes there's tension between the legislative side, so kind of like thinking about, you know, LA County we want to see in 5 years, 10 years, 20
Mhm.
years, and just like department management, you know, just like what's
Mhm.
happening in departments, funding levels, like I said, litigation that comes up all the time. It could be like hiring decisions too. So yeah, but my role is mostly advising. So that's why I'm usually not, I mean, this is a pleasure for me. I usually don't get out into the field as much. I'm usually downtown in the
Mhm.
office, writing, you know,
Sure.
getting on calls, Zooms, stuff like that.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you
to
so
be
much
here.
for coming.
Let me ask you a question, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you permanent with us?
No.
No, I'm Justice
No.
Deputy.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I'll hear it if I-
Yeah, so
say
Robert,
I'm
Robert was like the guy.
Okay.
Robert's out on medical leave,
Mhm.
and we don't know
When you're
when he's
coming
coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, we also hired somebody new.
Okay.
And he started like last week, so I think
Okay.
once he's like
Yeah.
Acclimated,
he'll,
right.
hopefully he'll be like the permanent,
Okay.
like showing up in community, and I'll, you know, Twin, invite me out, and to the extent I can make it out,
Sure.
I'll come through and just
Yeah, wonderful.
try to
Thank
figure out
you.
what's going on.
That's what April said when she was here a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
that they were bringing somebody in
Mhm,
that
yeah.
would be, you know.
So we hired someone.
Right,
Yeah, he's just
yeah.
we just got to get him.
It's oriented.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
All right, brother.
Okay.
I
Do you
think
want to
that's
answer
y'all
any
can do
questions
right
or
now.
anything?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean,
Any-
to the extent I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from the, raise your hand if you have any questions for Mr. Matthews.
So you only deal with the writing of legislative?
Well, I deal with both. So on the legislative side, yeah, writing motions, research, working with the other board offices. But on the executive side, as issues arise, I don't do as much of the constituent services
Oh, okay.
engagement. You know, like when there's something involved in the sheriff's department or probation department, like we have other folks on our team that deal more with that. It's more of like if it gets elevated to like this is a policy-wide
Mhm.
problem, like where we need like structural change. Usually it'll come to me and then I'll talk to the supervisor and figure out what we're gonna do about it. Or if it's like auto litigation, you know, sometimes you'll see we have all these settlements that come
Yeah.
through. Then I'll be in those rooms as the attorneys are presenting, you know, why they want to settle a certain case, sheriff's department, probation department, fire
Oh, I
department,
see.
whatever it is, and then I'll advise on what we need to do. My background is law, so I'll back up. So born and raised Southern California, actually. So you asked about church. So I grew up going to Metropolitan Missionary Baptist Church on 42nd and Hooper.
Okay.
Went to UCLA, left California 2004. So I was went to Harvard Law School. Then I was in Virginia working for a judge. Then I went to DC. I was at a law firm. Was a federal prosecutor in Puerto Rico. Came back in 2018, and then I was at a nonprofit doing advocacy work around alternatives to incarceration. And then Supervisor Mitchell, when she came down from Sacramento, was looking for a justice deputy, and some of the folks I worked with, but John would be great. So I didn't come with her from Sacramento. So we have a mix on our staff between folks that were local and joined, folks that were working with her already in Sacramento, and then some people that were already in the county and kind of bring kind of like the county expertise.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
So you're
Yeah.
not the one that met with Rising Community last week? We had a scheduled
All the
meeting, I
week-
didn't go. It
all the
was
weeks
on
blur
Wednesday.
together. No.
No, it was the person, I guess, who worked with the CGI, that
Okay.
program,
Okay.
the policy.
Yeah, so you know what, I mean, if it'd be useful, cause you know, we have our office, but to the extent that you want access to certain like department heads and other folks, just say it's a question about what the department's doing, especially some of the new departments, like youth development, JCOD, we can help facilitate, you know, getting a representative so that you have access. Say, like, for example, if you are applying to grants and things like that, and you need more just like technical assistance or wanna know or the incubation academy, you wanna know what's going on, we can help like facilitate
Yeah.
some of that work. But yeah, but most of the time I'm like in front of my computer, but
Yeah, that's what I thought.
but I appreciate getting out.
Would you leave us your card, please?
You know, I'm gonna mess up today. I'm getting new cards printed. I'm gonna see what I have, but if not, I'll
Okay.
give you my information.
Okay,
if I don't have
that'd be great.
cards. Yeah.
So, you said you deal with policy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, policy
so-
and a little bit of legal, legal.
So is
side.
that, so when you talk about the homeless or whatever,
Mhm.
are those policies?
Those are policies, but
Okay.
well, I'm
So
mostly
make
justice,
recommendations.
right? So obviously the unhoused situation impacts justice issues, mental health. So there's an intersection, so we try to work together. But yeah, that's exactly right. If there's a policy, if it's outdated and it's not serving the community, that's what I mean. There's sometimes a tension between like the executive piece, which is just like, okay, what's happening in the departments? How can we like help serve constituents better? But it could be like, oh, we want to create like new systems. Like how are we doing that and like making sure it makes sense.
So you guys wanna serve the constituents better?
Yeah, I mean that's
Right.
definitely the goal.
Right, oh, that's so.
Still thinking.
Be quiet. So how do we get policies built around, I don't know, parking and parking times and the amount of cars that are being put out here, cars that are, that don't have legal registration, that are allowed to just stay out here on these streets? We
Yeah.
can't say anything, we can't get anything done.
Yeah.
And we need to know, how do we maneuver through that?
Yeah.
And get these things done and bring it, really bring it to the attention of the people that need to
Yeah.
really address that.
You know, that issue in particular is a live issue, and actually last Tuesday, like we had a motion because it was looking into how to get like 24-hour service, because part of it is like, you know, it's only happening between the hours of like I think it cuts off at like 5 or 6 p.m. something like that.
24 hours service?
When you're talking about like parking and enforcement and all of it. So it actually came up in the last board meeting. I would say the easiest answer is to plug in, connect with someone on our staff, because like, and also to the extent you're seeing things happening, like to document it so that, because when we brought up the issue, one of the other supervisors were like, well, we don't really have this issue in our district. It was kind of like, so it was like, part of what we were doing was showing the parking issues, like just folks taking photos, and during the board meeting, like it was kind of like a rotation showing the issues that constituents were experiencing, so that they couldn't say like, oh, well, this is an issue, or like, how do you know it's an issue, right? Like, oh, well, maybe we need to study it or we need more data. But no, I mean, this is like last Tuesday, it was
Even, I'll go even so far as people setting up basically automotive shops on the block. It's unacceptable. I mean, it's just like, people just drive up and just park, double park, get their car repaired and leave.
Yeah.
It's just out of control.
yes.
Do you see the homeless playing into that though? I mean, with these RVs that are, you know, situated everywhere?
It's related, and the RV issue is challenging because many of the people living in RVs don't consider themselves homeless, right? And so folks have been like, okay, we want to get you in permanent housing. But if you're taking someone out of an RV and saying like, okay, we're gonna give you like a motel, for example, they're like, oh, I'm good, so it's like, but it is related, and it's something that we hear from. I mean, you're not the only one. We hear all the time, and especially like I feel like a lot of times people who live in the unincorporated areas feel like the county doesn't care and is not like represented.
I
So
feel like
it's
we're
something.
not being heard.
Yeah. So no, but you are. I mean, like well, at least in our office, like it is active discussion, motions, and trying to figure out how to move it.
Well, and my problem is that we brought this up at least 2 years ago, and we've been told to be patient. How long does patient last?
I think it depends on the person. It sounds like you already.
I'm past
Sounds
it.
like we already ran out of this.
You have. I'm past my patience.
It's
and so
the county to me is deeply frustrating oftentimes. Like the pace, the rate of change is not fast enough for me, like in any of the areas. To be honest, it's like, but the hope is like once you get it, that it's like lasting and actually impactful. I don't have a good answer, to be honest. But it's
That's fair.
going.
So in terms of, as a corrective action, what is the protocols in terms of creating a separate task force to deal with some of the things that your department can facilitate? And what's the process?
For this particular issue,
For that and many others that's been left unchanged?
well, typically, task force, working groups, commission, that can be done by board motion. Like you can create.
You write motions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Yeah, I mean, you can, but there's actually been a trend towards fewer working groups. Like, there's a sense that like you're creating too much bureaucracy and actually slowing down sort of processes. So it's more of just like, does it make sense for that particular issue, and what's like the value add? Because like sometimes it actually slows down. Like even coordinating meetings takes forever. But yeah, no, it's possible if you think it'd be useful, depending on the issue.
So how can we help you? Help us.
Well,
Is the question.
Yeah, well, you can reach out to me, and I can tell you that, obviously, if you reach out to me, I'll put you in touch with the folks that are already working on this.
Oh, watch out now.
Yeah.
Say it again.
And your number is?
You can just write it right up
Speak
here
out
on
loud.
that board.
There's our chalk. Hey, get your phone number out right now. Write it on the board.
There's some chalk right
Write it
there.
on the board. Write your number right there. And email.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to be nice over here.
You all know he can only do so much now, you all know that.
Well, no, I'll put you in touch.
Anyway,
Because
look,
I mean, the message is, there are folks that are working on this
Yeah.
already.
And if there's something that we can.
Yeah.
Let me explain, when I was talking to you, you might have forgot that we are having our 10-year, anniversary, this article that put us, this committee on the light. And we were looking for a keynote speaker that, we headlined for our cafeteria committee.
Remind me of the date.
We have got it?
We have 2 dates. It's in February.
February.
Okay.
Yeah, so we will probably keep you updated, but we will want you to come, visit one of our steering committee meetings as well. We'll be meeting right up the street at Helen Keller.
Okay.
So we will forward you information, so, make the family here, cause everything that we do with the steering committees and how we got started with OVP and the trauma prevention initiative, it all started from the Westmont Task Force meeting. So this is community-based, where we are, like, I'm making great progress, it's kind of like a slow moving turtle, but we want to get into a rabbit, you know what I mean? Especially for the funding to come to those communities, because in the past years, last 3 or 4 years, we done had other agencies come in here and oversee these physical contracts for us, but they don't need money. They come barely. They get a contract for like $250,000. They will come and like spend with about like $15,000-$30,000 with us for the period of that contract, and they keep the rest. And so it's not doing this committee no good. It's not doing none of these organizations that we have in here. Most of our organizations are grassroots, and most of us is volunteering. So we just really got to the spirit really to seeking funding, and that's been like a slow process for us as well. So I just want to thank you for following up and showing up, because it's hard to get somebody to come to our little meetings to show up.
Yeah.
We might look small, but we powerful and making a lot of moves.
I'll tell you, in my personal opinion, the board, how can I say this? There's too much power. It's too big, right? Like there's 2 million people in our district. Like it's
District
like
2.
there's structural deficiencies, I think. And so like we're looking at like board governance and like how to make just these processes work better, because like when we came, we're like, what do you mean there's no committees? Like there's no like issues, like justice issues come to public safety cluster, like basically me and 4 other people that are kind of like, I'm not a supervisor, right? Like certain issues that should be coming to the supervisors themselves and committee, and it just doesn't happen. But your issue is live. I mean, it's on. And also another thing, to your point, I think what I hear, like certain communities, they will every Tuesday show up or call about their issues, right?
Okay.
So it's like, I think like once folks are consistently hearing that it's happening, and it's frustrating because sometimes you have to wait on the line.
Yeah, I don't have all day
You know
on
exactly,
Tuesday.
yeah.
I mean, I give up half, 3 hours of my day here,
Yeah.
and that got go.
But one idea I had is like if someone, writes some talking points, so it's like a minute worth, and maybe if like one representative is just like reads the powerful points and says like signed by like all the folks, right?
Cause have you tried to talk a minute? They cut you off.
Yeah, oh no, I see. Look,
I got cut off.
I'm
I was
with
like-
you. Look, there are processes that raggedy. Like I'm not.
Yeah. I know you're not the
We
person.
came in. We're like, what? whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, are you talking about at the board meeting?
board meetings, yeah.
At the board,
And
yeah,
then
get
at 5
it.
o'clock, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you can
They
talk.
only let so many phone
Yeah.
calls go through,
Right.
they stream those calls, they don't let everybody talk.
Mhm.
They don't.
What body, will we have to contact for these lawsuits? We have, these officer-involved shootings and these big lawsuits come in. And this money's taken out of our community. Who we need to talk to make sure that we do, if you sue, the county of Los Angeles for the law court to kill somebody, how can we if the lawsuit go through, that this community can be like, award some of that money too, they just don't go to family, because it's impacted this whole community, but these families get this money, the lawyers get this money, and they go on by their business, when it's still, this community is still impacted from that incident, and we had to deal with the aftermath of law enforcement and the family, so I just wonder,
Yeah.
what can we had to do to start somewhere, we start receiving some of this award money?
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, legally, you don't really, because of how the cases are filed, right? It's like usually, a family is like
Right.
suing the county, and so it wouldn't happen within the context of that case necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think there are like structural things we should look at, because from our perspective, like not just families, but like communities are grieving, right? So trying to figure out how to help communities heal, we're definitely for it. So we could be a thought partner to figure out like what if anything we could do. I think it's tough within the specific case, because it's like the family is like, no, this is our case, this is our case, our money.
Well, Westmont and North Santa probably can sue the city we be able to sue them ourselves,
Right,
right?
it's like we want communities and people to be made whole.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because like there's a conflict between the executive and the legislature.
Right.
Because at the same time, like any money that's coming in now, that's money you could be using to serve constituents, right? So like
Absolutely.
it's a strange position to be
To be in, absolutely.
Any more questions, or we need to move on? to
Move
the-
on.
we
Hey,
have a
listen,
presentation. Is that it?
yeah.
And we wanna, introduce the officers and
Right,
captains.
John Matthews, thank you very much.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. Officer Bottega, that's
Don't worry, I'll be
Lieutenant
calling.
Bottega.
And the acting captain.
The acting captain, okay, she is.
Go ahead.
Captain?
Yes, acting captain, please.
Good morning.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Well,
Do you want a chair?
no, I'm good,
Okay,
I'm good.
okay.
And let us say thank you for letting us.
Yes, thank you.
You like it better?
Yes.
You guys can always, but I mean, I just wanna make sure it's accessible for everyone.
I think Jesus is good, like I said earlier, he's moving on the main line. It'll start getting cold in a couple of weeks.
It is. Well, I know.
We can.
We can make it happen, you guys want up here, we can.
You like it?
As long as it's a good, I
I
was
second
worried.
it.
I was worried, cause I asked Sheffield, like,
second
can
it.
everybody get up here okay? You know, we
Yeah.
don't have an
Mom
elevator,
had
it's
it,
not
but she
easy.
made it.
But as long as, cause I think it's the stairs is my only concern. But
Yeah.
we can make it happen, you want here?
Yeah,
you
yes,
got it.
yes.
You got it.
It's okay with the food?
Okay.
Okay.
Done.
Yo, well, you can
So,
get food up here.
Say that first.
Yeah, of course. And so let me introduce, this is Francois Chang. He's a lieutenant at South LA Station working with me in my office and helping me out.
Francois
I'd like to bring up,
Chang. Say it again.
Francois Chang. C-H-A-N-G.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Stop it, Vince. Stop it, Vince.
Why?
Call me whatever you want to call me.
Frank, call you Frank.
So a couple things to announce. Tomorrow is our community dialogue meeting at Southwest College. I invite, again, I must repeat my invitation to anyone. If you'd like to come, it's at the Science and Technology Building. The link is on the website for the Westmont West Athens Task Force. So thank you for doing that. And I hope to see some of you there. I'm hoping for a great turnout. And I know it'll be myself and probably 3 other supervisors and 8 to 9 deputies. So
Okay.
I'd like to see whoever would show.
What's the time?
It's gonna start at 5:45 for registration, and then 6 o'clock is when we'll sit down, and the U.S. Department of Justice will have moderators there to facilitate the talks between community members and the deputies. And it's in a small group setting, breakout groups into different areas of the class. 1 main room and then 2 classrooms at Southwest College, so be prepared to kind of get separated if you go together. You might be grouped group one, you might be group two, group
Mhm.
three, group four, and then we'll be separated out, group one will be over here, group two over here, in that fashion. I've heard nothing but good things as a result, and I think it's important, speaking on the heels of deputy-involved shootings within the community, that we all get together and talk about that, right? Because sometimes healing doesn't just come through money, it
Mhm.
comes through dialogue. I understand your point, and I actually think, my thought on this as I was writing down, taking notes as you were talking, is that that kind of thing has to be hashed out with the board to decide if there's an award given by the board as a result, and we offer those up during the settlement agendas. If there's actually a piece of that the board is willing to give to the community, aside from the award to the family for the wrongful death, if there would be some percentage of that they say, okay, this is to a nonprofit that they designate within that particular community. It may not be to the equivalent, of course, but it would be a percentage of that the board can consider to do additional programming through that particular area. Just a thought, but of course the board has to, I understand the conflict, right? So,
Oh, also, apologies, I can't make it tomorrow, but Natalia from our team will be there. I have another event at Chuco's.
Natalia Romo will be there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great, I'm glad. I wasn't sure who was coming, because I know I had invited Ara and Alfonso, but I just didn't know
They might be there too.
I hope they are.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's that, and then as Mr. Matthews spoke before, the parking enforcement through, that was with the department, LA County Sheriff's Department, had the branch of parking enforcement under our Community Partnerships Bureau. They were housed at South LA, meaning like our station had a group of them, and they were on our roster for the day, and they were given calls for service to go out and handle parking enforcement matters. And I believe they have been now moved out of the Civil Management Bureau within our department and put over to the Public Works side within the county.
Not yet.
It's coming, I think, next year, right?
Assuming the data and the research and all the stuff comes out, right? So that's the goal, but yeah, it's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
it's
for a
not
while.
immediate, but it's
Yeah.
coming, and right now there's some evolution going on with what we're having them do for parking enforcement meanwhile. And I was working with our supervisor, Mr. Green, regarding some of the issues there last week via email. And so things are taking place. As you know, when we talked about the RVs, it's tricky, and I mentioned before, it's gonna require patience from all of us as we start to ramp up our outreach efforts. We have the one team for the entire county, and we've already requested them for us in our area regarding occupied RVs. And February 2024 was the earliest that they are gonna come out to assist us in doing outreach to provide service potentially to the occupied persons or people that are living in these RVs. Now, the issue will become, legally, we were just talking about this, what's our legal standing to actually remove them from their RVs when the time comes? So parking enforcement will be a part of that. I'm sure we'll have to get with county council as to what our options are. When we have people who are in mobile RVs, and they are in fact mobile, meaning they can move, we're still gonna be having to move them along. The other ones will be the ones that can't move. They're, not working, and they've racked up power from some other source. Those are the ones that we'll probably be able to address in some form or fashion, providing notice, providing service to them. Is there anything that we can do to get them into a permanent housing situation before we have them, that particular motor vehicle removed from the roadway? Because I know we have the grounds now for it. I know Board of Supervisors allotted us a certain amount of land to allow us to tow these vehicles, and then our Regional Automotive Bureau is gonna be responsible for doing the dismantling for some of them as well. So it's a whole process. So I know it's not easy, and you guys are experiencing the blight. I drive down Imperial, and it's on LAPD side, I will say. But I will say, I'm appalled by what I see, and there has to be some efforts on everyone's part to kind of step up and remove this. And it was kind of something that maybe was our own making in some ways in light of the pandemic, and I think we're kind of paying for that now in many ways. Just like we did with the semis, right? And now we're seeing them, and we don't have any date on that. I know that was a state mandate last year, and that we have not heard any word, and so it's become a thing more common to see them now and that's where they're parking, and it's everywhere. I was in another area, where was I? Driving through, and I remember thinking like, oh my God, they're here too, like they have them racked up. It's kind of interesting things have developed in the last 2 years. So it's something, everything is gonna be to unwind, it's gonna take a little bit of time, and I don't know if that will unwind. We'll get word from the state and move forward accordingly. As for October, we've had a couple incidents happen in the area. We did have a murder, but it wasn't in our area, it was actually in Lenox. And it was a 7-Eleven employee who had encountered somebody who tried to steal. And there was a scuffle that ensued between the guy trying to steal alcohol and the clerk. And the clerk had been punched a few times, and then the individual leaves, unfortunately, the employee follows after the person, and then an attack happens, and then he ends up stabbing him, he dies. So our homicide came out over the weekend, and I met the individual who was the employee, and skinny little guy, and you're just like, oh gosh. So homicide did not book him, because I think there's some extenuating circumstances here regarding the incident, but that was really what happened at the 7-Eleven over in Lenox over the weekend. And then we've had a couple shootings here. One of them, the guy was completely uncooperative with us. And it was after the fact, and that happened on the 16th, and that was over in 118th in New Hampshire. He was transported by his family members to the hospital, so we ended up going to the hospital, and then when we got there, he was suffering from a gunshot wound, but he didn't want to cooperate with us at all. He was a young guy, male, and he claims that it was a male Hispanic who shot him, so we know who so it was a male Hispanic who was the victim, 16 years old, but he didn't want to give up any information regarding the suspect. So that happened in the area, and then we also had an incident on 110th, but that was a family-related incident where a cousin is threatening another family member with a gun, and then when we get there, he's gone, and we know who he is, so we'll be working on that one. And then we had another gunshot incident happen on 104th Street in Normandy, and that was on the 20th. And we actually determined when we arrived, it happened mid-block between 105th, between Normandy and Dinker. And there was not necessarily any evidence found, but the victims claimed that they were driving on 105th Street when a male black suspect shot at the car. And the victims do not appear to be gang affiliated, they were driving through. And so it was one gunshot victim, they'll survive their injury. So we're kind of up and down. Obviously, luckily, no murders have happened in the area other than that one outside in Lenox. But, I'm hoping we'll get through the rest of October, with okay. Couple of other things. We did Coffee with a Cop in the city of Lawndale last week, and it was quite a success. I'm hoping maybe we can coordinate one up here soon. I think it would be great. And it was actually nice to see so many people come out and just, I don't know, a different way of communicating with everyone. And I met some people that I would never have otherwise met, a Greek chef, and just different people, different walks of life. It was really nice. I met some special needs kids that they came out, and they were so sweet. And I just think it's a great opportunity for us to get to know each other in different ways other than me just talking at you. So, did anybody have any questions? Anything for me before I go?
By any chance, did you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
and did
and
you
we're
see the
working on
email
that.
I sent you?
Yes,
Okay.
and I sent that the photos that you sent, and I talked about it with my staff because we have a 2-man or 2-person no-call car coming out in November. We just went through and selected the deputies last week. They're gonna start in November, and that's actually their first mission, is that place. I was concerned about the potential
That's the name of the gang you're talking about. There's some homeless people living in there, and there was a lady, I didn't bring this up last week, but there's a
120th
lady
and Western.
in there that.
And I saw somebody come out.
Yeah, there's a couple of,
They broke
there's
through
about 3
one of
people.
them was so dilapidated anyway.
Yeah, we're working on that because I was actually worried about the human trafficking component
Sure.
potential for issues there, and if it's that's our first priority. So, thank you for bringing it to my attention because it was giving them a mission right out the gate. So I'm really
Right
excited about
on.
this,
Yes.
being able to work with our community directly, so thank you for that. And please continue to tell me because I can direct them to these particular types of, issues that we're seeing. Because that's not just quality of life, that's narcotics and a whole other host of issues there. But, okay, well, thank you guys.
Well, thank you, okay.
What you got, what you got?
I just want to congratulate you guys, because even just over the last year or two, I noticed a difference in the way y'all are policing this community. I don't hear from community members about being harassed and pulled over like in the past. I don't hear no more, so I just want to,
Nice.
thank you all for listening to the community and their concerns.
I think we do our best, and I think it's how we deliver the message of what we expect of our deputies, right? And I think we have a whole new generation of younger deputies out who are trying to figure out their way in their profession. They're a student of their profession. They're learning and being open to the idea of how we want to talk to our people, how we want to touch base, and how we enforce. It doesn't mean they're not going to take offenders to jail. I think in a whole host of what's happened and you guys are aware of the cite and release, book and release, and magistrate review for offenses, so there's really no bail, as we call it anymore. And so how that works for us, so the deputies understand that too, but it's not gonna stop them because we talked about that. Because obviously, if I haven't mentioned this before, Vermont experiences a very high rate of stolen vehicles, both stolen in the area and recovered. We talked earlier, someone asked about vehicles once, and I looked it up, and it was Kias. We saw a large number of Kias that were out there that are stolen. Hyundai's was one of the ones, and so it was just random cars like Nissan Rogue, and we had some Mercedes out there. We had ran the gamut, but I would say Kias were one of the top ones. I think I had like 7, and Hyundai's were about 5. Toyotas, Nissans are in there too. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we're trying to work with that because we know that these are happening in the area. We have operations that are ongoing, undercover operations to help us with that. The additional 2-person car that we're trying to put into the field. But these deputies need to also work how to fix this angle because you have people who could potentially be cited. I don't know if you know that, but stealing that vehicle or taking that vehicle without the owner's consent is actually just a ticket now. So how do we stop that if somebody goes like, oh, I'm just gonna get a ticket and I'm gonna go over there and go do it over there. So we're trying to work with the deputies to get them educated on how to actually bring that person in on a cash bail, because they actually would be considered a pending felony charge, and we can bring them in on a $25,000 bail. So there's ways that we're trying to work with that so the deputies are still able to accomplish the mission, because I think these are important issues that you guys are all experiencing at every level.
How many tickets do you get before you can't get any more tickets?
So that kind of goes back to what I was saying about the safe. I'm going to use that example. So taking a vehicle without the owner's consent under the new zero bail policy is considered cite and release. So what happens? Say for example, that person got his ticket in his pocket or her pocket, and off they go. When we go to the station, or when any officer or another agency goes to and they process that ticket, once that ticket is able to be entered into the system, another deputy or officer who encounters that individual in the same type of circumstance of a stolen type of vehicle, they can check that person's criminal history to determine if there's any pending felony charges. So the nature of the charge doesn't change, it's still a felony. At that point, they don't give that guy a ticket anymore. So it's only as good as us being on top of it and getting that entered in so that we know this person was out doing something not even 24 hours prior to us contacting him or her. Because it's not just men. We have female juveniles, a lot of female juveniles lately. So we're doing our best to kind of keep up. But thanks, Twin, I appreciate the positive comment.
And I hear your wording, taking a car without the owner's permission. I used to take my mom's car without her permission. So is there a difference between grand theft auto and taking a car without the owner's permission?
Absolutely, it's actually a different crime. One's under the penal code and one's under the penal code. And so for the penal code section, there's going to be intentionality in the actual theft of the vehicle. So by the time I find someone in a car that's stolen, I have to be able to establish that that person stole that car. All I know is that they're in it driving it, and that person
where there's a chain link gate, there was a homeless man that constantly infiltrates the gate and then builds something or gets cast off, and it's just a mess.
Is it on Normandy across?
Yes, remember, so yesterday I saw the sheriff line up and he was standing out there and I said, yes, progress. I don't know how we're going to maintain because it seems to reoccur. I don't know if there could be something more permanent that would prevent him from returning to that. And he seems to go to that same little spot.
Yes.
But I was pleased to see progress at least.
It's difficult because it's only gonna be as much as we go out there and continue to try to let him know, like, no, you can't be here, no, you're on the sidewalk, no, you're on this easement, you can't be here. So it's a continual effort by us, right? So it's like with anything too, with the deputies need to understand, they see it, and as much as you see it, they see it, community members see it longer. So it gets one of those things that we just have to preach, like go out there and make sure you touch base and make contact and offer resources and let them know we're gonna move him along if we have to. And me working with Caltrans, because some of these individuals with homeless, I have an issue over in the Lenox area where they're in the easement, and Caltrans said they're gonna go out there, and so now it's following up and making sure Caltrans does it, because what's gonna happen when they move them along, they're gonna end up in the streets of Lenox community, and it's gonna be tough, and we'll get phone calls because they're under the influence of drugs, or they're, mentally unstable without medication, and so it causes a lot of trickle-down effects that are not always positive, so it's constant. It's a constant.
And I heard it was that he's kind of housebound, that he kind of pushed back.
Yeah, they can.
They know him now, 'cause he lives right in the rise and the place right across the street. He does that every day. That's an everyday thing.
Okay, all right,
Every day.
Captain.
All right,
I mean to cut you off, but we
Yes, of course,
gotta
no, you gotta move on.
continue on. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
So, let's make it clear. We're in the house, Officer Francois.
Officer Chang.
I thought it was Francois. What's Francois? Oh, okay. I'm messing with you, man. Trust me, man. I'm all cool, man.
It says something about a woman who is in that leadership
We're
role.
gonna pass this little information
I'm
around,
gonna
please,
say it,
and then,
too.
give, Chair,
I'm the treasurer of this group.
Anderson
Thank
is
you,
gonna
sir.
come up and do her presentation with Medicare, so let's pass these out.
All right.
Without further ado, our treasurer, Ms. Nanda Anderson.
All right, thank you so much, Vince.
Y'all don't have to clap for her. I mean, they do have.
This is going to be a quick 101 in Medicare. Now, how many people in here are on Medicare? Okay. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
As you all know, this is Medicare annual enrollment, and that goes from October the 15th to December the 7th. Now, they have put Medicare into a real complicated kind of situation because they make it difficult for even some of the smartest people that I know that have led Fortune 500 companies. When they get ready to retire out, then they're not quite sure what to do. Now, those educators, those people that come from the county, those people who have railroad employment, they are taken care of. You know, they are in spaces that when they retire out, there's a plan for them. I don't deal with those individuals because they have the kind of benefits that keep them very safe and sound. It's those who come out of employee-sponsored programs or have their own businesses, and those who technically are still working but can negotiate something with their employer that if they go ahead and get on Medicare, then they may be able to get some support from their employer to be able to increase their salary. There's a whole lot of different scenarios to this. I got interested in doing this when I started managing my mother's health care. And I knew absolutely nothing about Medicare. I was not on Medicare at that time. And it was just doggone complicated. Now, in our community, right, in our community, there is a lot that we can get if we know how to go about getting it. And when you find these people who are on, particularly now, you know, you're being bombarded with all this information, and you're being bombarded with phone calls and bombarded when you see all the JJ on TV talking about all this 800 number and all these other, you know, if you have someone like myself, or if you have someone who understands what your needs are, that's who you go to. Because when you call that 800 number, that person don't give a rusty about you, okay? They look up your zip code, and then they tell you what they think you should have, but they are not talking to you like a human being, asking you what are your needs. You know, because once you have the idea of what you need, then that's where me and my team go together, and we start putting that puzzle, we look at it, and we really dissect it. Like I told one of my colleagues the other day, or I get calls all the time about people wanting to recruit me to be a part of their, no, I don't want to be a part of your team. I like what I do in my community, all right? I like being able to, when I first got into the Medicare aspect, which was about 7 years ago, right? I was doing annuities and life insurance and all that, and I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. Our people did not understand that, okay? But everybody needs health care. Everybody needs health care. And I'm not asking you for a dime. I am not asking you for 10 cents. But I will spend hours with you so you really know what you need, okay? So I was introduced during the time I was taking care of my mother. One of her one of her caregivers, tough sister, she's doing huge stuff right now. And she said, do you know this group in Leimert Park? And I said, no, I don't know these guys. And they're 3 young African-American men who have the only brokership in Leimert Park that focus on Medicare. So when I was introduced to them, they were like, wow, this is a really hot group. Now I'm older than all these guys, right? But collectively, they had maybe 60 years of experience. And their focus has always been on the community, always been on the community. So I said, okay, let me learn from them. Let me learn from them. And boy, I tell you, I got into a training session with these guys, and they are some of the most compassionate and giving, and this has been really good to all of them because they stay focused, and they stay focused on our community. And they're very well known.
Very knowledgeable.
So I get a call, they say, okay, I want you to start doing these cold calls, all right? And so they have an 800 number, everything is set up really well. So I called a woman who, you can tell we have younger seniors, okay? And then we have seniors who just may be on 30 different types of medications, okay? And they don't have to be 80 to be in that space, right? So I call this woman, and she says, hello, I mean, really faintly. So I start talking to her. I mean, this is the very first person I ever called to talk about Medicare. And she said, and then when she started calling me darling, okay, then I knew that I was dealing with somebody who, she said, my phone hasn't rung in 4 months. I've been trying to figure out how to go and get to pick up my medication. Every time I think about this story, it just makes me mad. Yeah. And I can't find my wallet because my son was here, and you know, honey, he got a drug problem. I mean, these are the kind of things we're dealing with in our community of people who are locked in, but still need to get to the doctor. Well, fast forward, I get a cake from mom every Christmas now, okay? I went over to her house, and I mean, it was, you know, not one of the most impressive places to go. I mean, I was looking at the little roaches going around, but I got her a caregiver, somebody to come in there and help her, somebody to take her to the doctors, somebody to make sure that her medication was being taken on at the right time. And it's like, I'm way off of my script right now, but it just made me feel so good. And I call her, you know, I call her often just to see, cause she got a deadbeat son, okay? We got that wallet back, you know, we got that wallet back, cause he was taking her money. You know, and she worked and she worked cleaning houses for a very, very long time. But these are the kind of situations that we address, okay? Okay, so there are several types of Medicare. You have your Medicare, original Medicare. With original Medicare, somebody can say, all right, I have access to go to any doctor that allows me, that takes Medicare, right? But with that Medicare, original Medicare, you have a deductible that you have to pay, and then you have to pay 20% of whatever service you might have. So say for instance, you're in the hospital and you know how expensive that is. So you're gonna rack up $100,000 operation fee or whatever, and you're gonna pay 20% of that, all right? That's original. Now I talk to people, well, I wanna go to my own doctor. Great, you do whatever you wanna do, that's fine. But I don't mess with original Medicare. That's just a very simple thing, all right? Then you have Medicare Supplement. And Medicare Supplement is for those who, when I came out of the National Sickle Cell Program, I had a PPO. That was a part of my negotiations and my contract with them, right? That allowed me to go to any doctor that I wanted to, okay, at that time. So, but when I retired out, it was either Cobra, which I had to pay, okay, they paid for me for 6 months, and then I had to go on to Cobra. But that was expensive, that was really expensive, and I wasn't even close to Medicare at that time. So I ended up putting myself in a group plan at Brotherhood Crusade. Okay, that kind of really helped me out, you know, from being able to do that. But then when you decide that you want to deal with a Medicare supplement plan, you're also dealing. I'll go through this alphabet soup stuff with you. You also have to continue to pay your Part B, because your Part A is free, and I'll go into what all that means in a minute. But then if you want a supplement plan, which puts you into a PPO, where you can go see any doctor you want to, you're gonna pay based on your age, okay? You're gonna pay an additional to your Part B. And then, for what has really become the thing in Medicare is Medicare Advantage. Now, Medicare Advantage is what all those JJs are talking about on that 800 number, because they're telling people, well, contact this number and you may be able to get a certain percentage of your money back from your Part B. Well, be very cautious of that. And when you talk to someone, because you know, ain't nothing free. Ain't nothing free. It's gonna get weaker on the other end. And the only people who I encourage that they even get involved in that part of it are those that are really healthy, okay, that are aging in, that have had no problems at all right? Because where they get you on that is if you have to be hospitalized, okay? And it starts to get really out of balance, right? But there are some Medicare Advantage plans that are really impressive, very rich, and I mean full of abundance. But you gotta know what you need. I gotta know what you need to be able to match you to the plans. Right now, I write for 12 different plans. That means I certify every year with these plans. And the older I get, the harder it is. Because it's a lot of information. Medicare changes every single year. And I encourage anybody who is on Medicare to look at what they have. So your Part A is for, does anybody know what Part A is for? Does anybody know that? See, all these alphabets, and Part A is hospitalizations. Part B is for your doctors, visits, and specialists, and that sort of thing. And then they came up with Part C, which originally was for your medications, but now it's been wrapped into the Medicare Advantage plan. And the Medicare Advantage plan gives you A, B, and C. It gives you everything wrapped up in one, I know it sounds like it's crazy, wrapped up in one little fine package. And then there's D,
Good Lord.
for those people who want an independent pharmacy supplement. But it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. But when you begin to look at your plan for renewal for 2024, this book, it's a lot, but it is really the Bible as it relates to what happens with Medicare. And I'm not saying read it from cover to cover, but those things you're concerned about, it's really very well laid out, so you can kind of pick through it and see what you want. Those who may have, and I'm going to leave you with two things. Those that may have veterans in their family. Veterans are the only population that can have veterans coverage and Medicare. And I'm beginning to work with a few veterans now, because if they decide to go and activate their Medicare, well, then they can get some additional benefits that they can't get through the Veterans Administration. Anyone in your families that may have a disability, end-stage renal disease, certain cancers, Lou Gehrig's disease, you don't have to be 65 to qualify for Medicare. You do not have to be 65. You can have certain medical conditions that will allow you to get on Social Security, disability, insurance, and if you get there, then we more than likely can get you qualified for Medicare. So if you have Medicare and Medi-Cal, then you have the best of both worlds, okay? And I really stress this with our families who have children that they're trying to figure out how to get them covered. And see, a lot of things are happening right now in Medi-Cal, which I don't write, but I do review, and I do understand. Medi-Cal has just terminated 5.4 million people in this country. And they are using COVID as a part of the reason why people moved, people were displaced, people this, people that, and they did not sign the paperwork to be re-eligible. And what's gonna happen, what you're gonna see in 2024 is where these families no longer have coverage for these kids, they're gonna be going to the emergency rooms or urgent care. That's how these kids are gonna be taken care of, okay? It's getting ready to get real live. So, like I'm working with Dr. Anthony now to make sure his patient population is covered. And if they ain't, I'm working with them to make sure that I can get them covered. And expand it into Medicare if possible, you know. So, I like to work with those who are aging in, you know, moving in, because if you're moving into 65, and I never thought I'd get to 65, but it was like, okay, so I didn't know what to do. But at that time, they sent me the card, the little red, white, and blue card, with Part A, right? didn't have Part B, because when Part B activates, you're paying for it, or somebody's paying for it. Now, since COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs, all right? A lot of people who had Medicare lost their jobs. And many of them have been able to go to the county, to the state, to get on Medi-Cal. And if they got on Medi-Cal, then Medi-Cal will pick up their Part B. So there's a lot of things that are happening in this world that we in this community need to know about, okay? So I'm here to answer any questions that you have, but furthermore, I mean, if there's anybody that you'd like me to review their plans that are not that did not come from the government side or from the education side, or railroad, I'd be more than happy to do it. So any questions?
Let me add, Linda. Linda got on me last year, because I retired and I'm 67. Let me just get it out there. Because I was talking about all this stuff. She asked me, Bishop, what you on? I'm like, this plan B and this plan over here. She was like, oh, no. It's called Medi.
Medi, that's right.
You need to get on. I got on that, and I got a little food card now.
Oh, yeah, right.
I ain't got to pay for this. Because I was playing around. I didn't know. I'm doing double dutch. I'm going to jump in. And I ain't knowing. I retired. I'm waiting on that. And then she just heard me. So I'm an example of what she's talking about, because she caught what I was saying to her. So what she's saying, like my uncle said, rest in peace, we 2 paychecks away from not having no money. Let me just say it again. This Medicare stuff here keep you at a level of sanity. Trust me, I know. Many years I did working in the school district, and they take your money. You thinking you cool? Nah. They gonna get it. So I'm an example to Linda. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, you are so welcome.
Please ask questions.
Any questions at all?
Because you're gonna need this. Trust me.
And you all have my
And I thought I
card.
was cool. I know everybody. All right, Brandon. God bless you.
Yes,
But
Yes.
questions.
question.
Please ask
I'm
questions.
glad you mentioned to those people who work for LA Unified and those that work for railroads, because you already have a plan. When you go to these other plans, you mess up your whole Medicare.
I don't touch them. I tell you, don't you
Please don't
dare
it.
touch them.
Please, if you work for
Can't get no
those,
better than that.
Please don't touch it, because you mess up your whole plan.
Yes, you do. And you can't get back in.
No, I
You
was
can't
gonna
get back in.
Can't get back
No,
in.
so, but yes.
Don't touch what?
Okay, the plans that they retired with from the educational system, the school district, or through the county, or,
CalPERS,
state,
mhm.
it's called CalPERS. And there's another one, but I can't remember it right now. If
PERS and PARS.
if all of these plans are designed to support you once you retire, okay? And they're really solid. They're really solid. So people have come out and they say, well, I think I can get this, I said, don't mess with that. That's what I mean. Don't try to change the plan, because if you have a hiccup, you ain't getting back in. You're not gonna get back in, and you're not gonna get anything any better. I mean, I will sit there and I will compare things for you, but it's not gonna get any better for you, so that's a gift. I mean, to retire out like that. I mean, it really is.
And it's educating our public and our young people. When you work for this person, my mom in 85, 86 lifetime benefits with LAUSD.
Yep.
And so thinking in the long run, because a lot of them don't think when they retire, when they get older. They just trying to stay young forever. But, when you take jobs, what are the benefits? What are the perks? How am I gonna live when I don't want to work anymore? Because it makes a difference if you go to ER and they ask them for $500 or $600 before they see you, as opposed to just come on in. And so it's just educating each other and sharing our gifts and talents. And so, as the coming weeks, we want to understand and learn everybody's gifts and talents so we can share. So if we have an attorney in the room, a licensed specialist, whatever, retired counselor, elected officials, minister, interventionists, whatever. We all have gifts and talents to share with each other that makes our group that much bigger.
I had
and
said
stronger.
that October 15th through December 7th is the Medicare annual enrollment. There is another opportunity for those of you who get into a Medicare Advantage plan that you say at the end of December 8th, and you say, well, I don't know if I'm gonna like this plan. You do have one other opportunity to change, and that is from January 1st to March 31st. And that's just, and why they just make it complicated to confuse you. That, I mean, they really do. But, you know, like I say, and to Beverly's point, if you have any questions whatsoever, you have my number, and I'd be more than happy to help you.
Thank you, Lennox. No questions? All right. No questions? All right. So we open up the floor. Jennifer, you want to come up and speak and announce who you are, and anybody else want to make their shine? We got like 20 more minutes left. Brother DeAndre, welcome, Brother DeAndre. Let's hear from Brother DeAndre. That's
So give everybody 2 minutes, okay?
okay. We'll get to you later on, man. But we see you. Jennifer, you want to?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good morning. As
You
you all
are-
know, my name is Jennifer Trishelle Marie Williams. I'm a CPA and a commissioner for the 2nd District for the Citizens Economy and Efficiency Commission. I'm also a community organizer, and as you know, we've organized around the shipping container issues that were gone on Western 120th, right? That was a success. Well, as soon as we accomplished that goal, there were piles of dirt from, we don't know exactly who did it, but piles of dirt that were dropped and dumped on that site right next to people's homes. We spoke to Caltrans multiple times as a community about this to get some answers about where did this dirt come from, who allowed them to do this, and what are the contents of these soil piles, right? So when Caltrans came during the summer, they said that they would test the soil piles and that they would only provide the results of the soil testing if we made a public records request. Well, in August, I submitted a public records request, and we now have the soil testing results here. I will pass this around so people can take a look, but I will skip through to the summary. There were 2 samples, and I'll show you exactly where those samples were taken and where those piles of dirt are in proximity to the homes. That's very important. There were 2 samples that reported unhealthy concentrations of chemicals that exceeded applicable residential or commercial reuse thresholds. That's not good. One of the samples, the soil stockpiles associated with the sample can only be reused in a commercial or industrial land use scenarios, but not in residential use. That was one of the 2 samples. The second sample, however, exceeded levels that are healthy and safe in any scenario, whether it be industrial, commercial, or residential. And so that pile and that soil would need to be removed in any and all cases. So I'll show you where those piles were located, the ones that were unsafe in any use. You see here, they have labeled, here's like an aerial view of all of the piles. And you see this is someone's home here, right? Here's the fence, people parking here, home. And you see these piles are closest to people's homes, these are further away from people's homes. Well, the sample that they tested that was unsafe in any circumstance, unfortunately were the piles that were located closest to people's homes. It was this set of samples here. This is sample group 1569 SSG04, And you can see, these are all of the samples. They put an X on each pile that they tested. And these are the piles that are the closest to people's homes. And so this is 1569 SSG04. And you'll see in the summary of the analytical results that that indeed is the pile that needs to be removed in all scenarios. We've heard that they've started flattening and spreading out some of the soil piles. We need to demand answers from Caltrans. Number one, on which piles that they flattened to make sure that they didn't spread and flatten the ones that literally this report says are unsafe to do so. That is the next step in this process that we need to do. And so I wanted to make sure that I shared these results with you all. We have the contact information of Caltrans folks, the same folks that we've been talking with, are the same folks that we need to keep talking to and demanding that they come and explain which piles that they have spread and to make sure that it's not the ones that are unsafe for all of us. So
Jennifer, the homes that are adjacent to the piles that have been deemed unsafe, have those individuals, those homeowners or residents been notified?
I am not aware of that. I don't have any purview into that. But they need to be informed.
Yeah,
They need to be informed,
yeah.
absolutely. But
Any other questions?
This location in the city or the,
this is county.
County.
This is,
County.
Western and 120.
are you in touch with our folks?
Yes.
Louder? Okay.
Yeah.
But since it's Caltrans land, it's state. We've been dealing with state, correct?
We've been dealing with Caltrans, but
So-
we've
We
definitely
have
been in
definitely
contact with
had
Supervisor Mitchell's team about
The
it.
county involved, yes.
I just wanted to make sure I understand, you said that Caltrans is doing the flattening, but we're not sure who did the dumping originally?
Yeah, they have not reported back to us whether or not, we know that they've been spreading, I think, so Miss Yolanda Mims lives in the neighborhood, where the homes are located. And Miss Yolanda has shared that they have spread out the soil. We're just not sure which piles they have spread out.
It looks like they've spread it in all.
It's all flat now, huh?
It's all flat.
They've merged it.
It's all flat now.
So we need some answers.
Yeah, we do.
Because this soil test says that that is not, that for a certain group of piles of soil, that is not safe in any case. And so we deserve answers. And so that's the next set of actions that we need to take collectively. I will create a sample template email that we can all send out. You can edit it at your leisure and send out to Caltrans folks. We should CC Supervisor Mitchell's team. I know that John didn't say that, but I'm saying that.
There you go.
That we should make sure that
OCC
everybody.
Louda specifically.
Yeah, Lauda. Lauda is the woman that we actually met with about this already, months ago.
Okay.
And when we met with Supervisor Mitchell's team, Lauda specifically, we were talking about, hey, Caltrans said that they are open to working with the county to repurpose this site for something that's actually gonna support our health and not deteriorate our health. And we have not heard back. And I followed up, and we haven't heard back. So now we have this other issue. And if we move expeditiously, if the county was ready to move expeditiously to pick up that opportunity that Caltrans has opened that door, that they wanna work with the county, then we could have avoided this second issue from happening. So timing is
Shoot me an
important.
email and I can forward it to Louda. How do you want to react? Because she focuses on real estate, before she exits kids' minds on it.
So Claudia,
On the second issue you mentioned.
on the soil?
If you shoot me an email, like I can, like basically as a reminder, I can forward
Okay,
it.
will do.
Here.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
That's not the only thing I have.
Okay,
One other thing.
we running short.
Thank you, I know. Taking off my commissioner hat and putting on my candidate hat. Now it's time to collect signatures. I have a great update. It'll be quick update. You know that I'm not the establishment candidate in this race. Michelle Chambers is. That's a lot of support. But she was not able to get enough support to get the Democratic Party's endorsement. And that, she was expected to get that, given the amount of support that she has. all of the elected officials have appointed delegates that can then vote for her too. And so for, you know, if you're a betting man, you would bet that she would get that support. So it's great that we were able to block that, and now nobody has the Democratic Party. So that creates a level playing field for our grassroots campaign. Now, the action. I need signatures to get my name on the ballot. So if you're a registered voter in our community, then please sign. And if you'd like to help collect signatures, talk to me afterwards, and I'll give you some of these signatures, and I'll come back next week to pick them up.
How many signatures you need for this?
We're trying to get 2,000 signatures. It's okay if we don't. It's okay if we don't get that much. We just have to pay a fee as a campaign.
Question, you got a question, Jenna?
Yes.
I would encourage you to get more than 2,000, because when they verify, sometimes folks don't live in.
We only need 40.
Okay.
And so we have way more than that already. But if you get 2,000, you don't pay any fee. If you get 40, you still have to pay over 1,000.
2,000 verified, right?
Verified, yeah, and 40 verified. But we have way more than 40.
The school board race.
And now with all of this, we'll have even more. And so yeah, that's the goal. Anyway, thank you all.
Pull up.
All right, thank you, Jenna. Sister LaTon?
And then we
You got
got.
it.
So, I'm LaTon Compton.
He was gonna pass us out first.
Yeah.
Not yet, not yet.
You don't have, go ahead, go,
All right,
speak
so
up,
how many
please.
of you have children, ages 2 to 20?
Our grandkids.
Or grandchildren? Or great-grandchildren? Well, this is really for the children, and even the grandparents, because I'm a grandparent and a great-grandma, and I attend.
Go
We
ahead.
have what is called Hallelujah Day. You know, we have events where the children go out and trick or treat, and that's a annual event. And we too, at our church, Atherton Baptist Church, have a annual event for children. And what we do is give them candy, we have games and food, and it's a very festive, light-hearted time, and they dress up as angels or, you know, some biblical items. So, I'm inviting all of you who have children, grandchildren, neighbors to attend Hallelujah Day. Hallelujah! It's Saturday, and it's October the 20th, and I only have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different. So how many of you?
October the 20th.
October 28th.
Oh, I was about to say the 20th.
I do. October the 20th, next Saturday, this coming Saturday. This is, yeah, Saturday, this coming Saturday. Huh?
This Saturday.
This Saturday.
And what
So,
time?
the event is from 10 to 1.
Okay. Let's see on my
10 in the morning to 1, we have a great time. So, I would like, for you who have children, grandchildren, neighbors that have children, anyone that you can think of that might be interested in attending, raise your hand. I got 1,
Let me have one of
2,
those.
I'll just take
3.
a picture.
LaTon,
Yeah.
your
No.
church is on Imperial and Casimir,
I'm gonna take a picture.
straight down Imperial, right before Didi's, you know what Didi's is, on Imperial? That block is Casimir, you make a left, and that church is right there.
Oh,
on the
I know
corner.
exactly where that is.
Okay.
Yes, right behind Didi's on Crenshaw.
And we're having fun.
In
My,
Imperial.
my living room was, my husband said, what is all this? I said, this is for Hallelujah Day.
Here you go. I took a picture.
Okay. Anybody else would like to take a picture?
All right, you done, Mr. Ty?
I have an announcement.
No? Okay.
One more time, one more thing.
All right, because
So you know that we're having our
Holiday.
Hallelujah on my brain. Holiday luncheon, right? And that's gonna be on November 19th.
Yes. December 19th.
December 19th. I had my coffee. December 19th. So, we created a sign-up sheet, and so all of you, who love to cook and you have these delicious meals, we'd like you to identify by your name and the dish that you're bringing. And then some of you are gourmet, you have a lot of desserts, so we have a dessert page. So we have an
Nice.
entree and a dessert plate.
That's for us here.
Okay, that's for us.
That's for our Christmas thing. So you know what you're talking about.
Can we sign up next week? I need to think of.
Tuesday, December 19th. You know. Thank you.
All right. Hattie McFrazier?
Oh, just a reminder, next week we will have Dwayne Davis, who is running for School Board District 1, that will be our speaker
Awesome,
next week.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I know him. Sister? I know Dwayne.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'll make it real quick. Okay, my name is Dawn Welch. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams, AKA the real estate lady. I have two events coming up, one for November 4th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It will be at our office at 28910 Southwestern Avenue. It's a home buyer's workshop. So if you know anyone who's thinking, don't know how to go about purchasing a home, this will be the event for them to attend. I'll have a lender here talking about California Dream Program, first-time home buyers, down payment assistance with Cal HFA, and much, much more. And I also have November 4th, a blessing basket event coming up on November 16th. If you or anyone you know would like to participate, I have flyers, I'll pass it out. Please let us know. The drop-off point is still TBA. It's a lot going over confirmation with the city of Hawthorne, so we're still TBA on that, but I will keep you guys in the loop. I do have flyers, blessing basket.
Here.
Thank you so much.
Rudy, real quick, you want to speak on your food giveaway tomorrow? I always want to keep that updated.
Okay, thank you, yes, sure, just every
Then you'll win who?
I'm with Girl Scouts of Los Angeles. Every Wednesday, we have a food giveaway from about 10 a.m. to about 11:30. We're always looking for volunteers. We're located at 2057 West Century, right adjacent to Jesse Owens Park. Come early. We start distributing all the food and dividing everything up in the bags at about 8:30 a.m. So
Tell them that
the more the merrier.
they have to register though.
Oh, you have to register for the food giveaway. So I don't have that. Which I gave flyers. I don't have it. I will get that.
All right, y'all heard that? Niche, you good? Update, mute?
By the way, if anyone
You
wants
good?
to volunteer on the campaign, please see me, we have a sign up form for that.
What you
Okay.
say?
Anyone would like to volunteer for
Brother
the
Yandre,
campaign?
you want to come up and say a couple things, or you good? Well, welcome yourself, real quick. Yes, sir. Come on, bro. Come on up
Good morning, everyone.
Good
My
morning.
name is Keandre Stone. I work with the Los Angeles Center for Alcohol and Drug Abuse. And I am part of a community engagement contractor with the Westmont Task Force. So we provide funding for the task force. So I'm here
DeAndre, that's
I come with
DeAndre.
money.
Okay.
So I'm just here seeing how things are done in real time. I gotta do a site visit every month, so, you know, it's part of my scope.
So how do we do, brother?
It's great. It's my first time here. I didn't know what to expect, but it's nice. I like it. And I want to sign up for yeah, I'm a registered voter, and I'm also a member of this community.
Awesome, sign up for bring
We'll talk about that.
All right. Twin, you good?
Yeah, I'm good, brother.
You sure?
Yes, that's what we do, man. We gotta be a body of work. And that's what we do. We gotta bring the resources in.
And let's try to make it tomorrow night to the Southwest College. I'll be there.
I'll be there too.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll be there, definitely be there.
Time. Just call me and I'll tell you what. Sister Harrison, you ready for your presentation yet?
No, not yet.
All right, now next week, hold on, floor's still open. Next week, South Bay Water Basin is coming to do a presentation. It's a big organization that we talked with the last couple of weeks. It's a big water plant. Yeah, they're gonna invite us to do a tour, and it's a big situation. They have a big grant situation that we're trying to talk with, so they'll be here next week. All that being said, I guess we stand where we are. Yolanda, you want to give a praise report and pray us out, please? We can stand where we are and pray us out.
Stand where we are.
Thank you for all your prayers. First of all, I have
going down, so things.
That's prayer.
Going back, you know, and maybe another week or two, so they can evaluate, make sure that things continually goes down.
For our holiday. Oh.